come alive.
Now I don't care about cool conversations. I just don't have the time to know. All I need is to love my baby. He keeps my soul in line. One of these days I'm gonna rise up singing with you. Alright, one of these days I'm gonna rise up. Yes, it's true.
Now I found out about pain and doubt a long, long time ago, but she cured my blindness with her love and kindness. Stays no matter where I go.
Now I heard people, all the people talking, they just don't understand. No good reason to go on explaining when a woman's in love with her man. One of these days I'm gonna rise up singing with you. One of these days I'm gonna rise up. Yes, it's true.
Goes like this, we sing.
Ooh, 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 ooh,
Oh, baby, don't you leave me.
Oh, no, I'll never leave you. I want you here by my side. All I need is to go on living. You keep me satisfied.
Now,
One of these days I'm gonna rise up singing with you. Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna rise up. Yes, it's true. One of these days I'm gonna rise up singing with you. Alright, yeah. One of these days I'm gonna rise up. Yes, it's true.
and it goes like this, we sing.
Ooh, 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 ooh,
All right, let's hear it for Buttonfly. Buttonfly is Mike Gray and Stephanie Kotz, and they're going to be back in just a minute to sing another song, and they're getting a little bit of feedback here on the mic. If you can turn my mic down. Test, test, test. Back up a little bit. I will back up. Will it help if I stand like this? No, it didn't. Actually, it made it worse. I will not do that ever again. That was Buttonfly. Like I said, they'll be back in a minute, okay? But first, I want to welcome everybody to the first ever Secular Sunday celebration. All right, so this event is a little bit different than anything that we have done in the past. And I want to just take a minute to tell you a little bit about what this event is and where it came from, just in case you're not already familiar with it. If you give me the next slide, Jason. And it's right there. If I just talk really loud, can you hear me? No. You want the microphone? Testing. Yeah, it's buzzing in my ear, so That just might be the aliens talking to me again. I've told them to stop. But all right, so Secular Sunday Celebration. A few years ago, American Humanist Association came to Philadelphia for their annual conference, and I know some of you were there for that. At that no, you were not there. At that conference, Sunday Assembly did one of their Sunday assemblies. Now, are you familiar with Sunday Assembly? Have you heard of them before? Basically what Sunday Assembly is, it's a group based out of England. 2 comedians from England put it together. And what they try to do is they try to recreate all the best parts of church without all the religion. Okay, so it's a lot of singing and there's speakers and sharing and stuff like that. And some people love it, and honestly, it's not everybody's cup of tea. And we didn't quite know what to expect, but we went. And a lot of our friends, you know, the same kind of angry, grizzled atheists that you all know and love, they went into the Sunday Assembly, and I was just so surprised at how many people loved it. They were up there singing and dancing and doing chorus lines and all this other stuff. And it was just amazing. It was like, who are these people that, you know, are normally commiserating over Hitchens and Dawkins and things like that? But they loved it. So a lot of us were kind of on fire for the idea. Kate and I came out of that and we were like, wow, we need to do a Sunday Assembly in the Lehigh Valley. We're totally going to do it. And we talked to Sanderson. He's one of the guys that started it. He's the real big, tall, Chewbacca-looking guy, if you've ever seen it. And we told him that we were interested, but at the same time, we already have this group here, and we really don't want to start from scratch. And he said, well, you can't really be Lehigh Valley Humanists Presents Sunday Assembly. Sunday Assembly has to be its own separate thing. But then he said, feel free to steal any of our ideas that you like and just do your own thing. And we thought, wow, that's a great idea. We'll just steal from other groups and do, you know. So that's what we did. We looked and we found that there's actually several other groups that are doing kind of the same thing. There's Humanist Hub in Harvard. There's something called Oasis in Houston and Kansas City. There's a group in the Carolinas called Triangle Free Thought. They're doing something called Secular Together. And it's all kind of based on the Sunday Assembly model. Now there's a group called Godless Revival in New York. They actually broke away from Sunday Assembly. It's like the first Reform church of Sunday Assembly. Because, and what they're doing is their show is a little bit more of a variety show and less anything churchy. And they're a little different because they still kind of like to poke fun at religion and things like that, whereas the other groups are avoiding that kind of thing. So, Jason, what we have is our Secular Sunday Celebration concept. Again, it's stealing the best practices that we could find from these other groups, and what we came up with was that it will be a celebration of the human experience based on a positive theme that seeks to entertain, inspire, and educate through things like music, comedy, poetry, short talks, etc. So that's the model. Now, it's still a secular event, but it's not in any way anti-religious. So the goal is that whether you're an atheist or you're not an atheist or you're somewhere in between, you should feel comfortable here, okay? Because we're just going to try to ignore religion for like an hour. And we'll see how it goes. No promises, right? So that's basically the concept. That's what we're doing. And like I said, it's based around a positive theme, and the theme for this particular day is we're celebrating individuality, okay? And individuality here is defined as the quality or character of a particular person or thing that distinguishes them from others of the same kind. So individuality, that's what we're talking about. Now, what do you think? In society, is individuality generally celebrated, or is it something that is discouraged in favor of conformity? What do you think? Yeah, I don't know. It's probably a mixed bag. There's probably a little of both, depending on where you are. Today is actually a very appropriate day for us to be focusing on this topic. What's going on later on today in the world that's got everybody crazy? The Puppy Bowl, yes, and the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is also going on. Who plans on? You watching the Super Bowl? Who doesn't care? Who's just watching for the commercials? All right. Well, since you love commercials so much, I want to just show you a quick commercial. Not that I'm endorsing any products or anything, but I want to show you a commercial. It features one of the football players from tonight's game, and as you watch it, I want you to focus on the idea of what is this telling us about individuality, okay?
Hi, I'm Peyton Manning, and I have DirecTV.
And I'm really high voice Peyton Manning, and I have cable.
Only DirecTV lets you watch NFL Sunday Ticket games live on all your devices.
With cable, I can't do that. It's like
I get to take all the games with me.
I sing what the four tunes mean. Lady, sing the song.
Don't be like this, me. Get NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
All right, so what is that telling us about individuality? Peyton Manning, everybody loves Peyton Manning, but what he's basically saying is, don't be unique. Don't be yourself. There's something wrong with you if you're not just like me. And that's not the only commercial. If you've seen them, they've got dozens of other ones, whether it's Rob Lowe and Tony Romo, and they're all basically trying to tell you, don't be like the way you want to be like the way I and the rest of the world is telling you you should be. What's wrong with being in a barbershop quartet? What's wrong with, hey, if your voice is a little different than everybody else? Nothing's wrong with it. It's worthy of celebrating, and that's what we're doing here today, okay? So, that's why we're here, and we got a lot of great things coming up, a lot of fun, a lot of entertaining, educational, and inspiring things. But before we get to that, Jason, we're going to have one more song from Buttonfly. So Buttonfly, take it away. Let's hear it for Buttonfly.
There are places I remember, some I like, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall some are dead and some are living. In my life, I've loved them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compared with you. And these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. And I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I loved you more. So I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I've loved you more. In my life, I loved you more. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Buttonfly. Buttonfly is going to come back at the end, and they're going to close the show with a couple more songs. Okay? So they're going to come back at the end, a few more songs. One administrative note, as you know, if you've been to any of our Sunday events here before, you know a number of us will go up and eat lunch here at the Brew Works upstairs. So if any of you want to stay for lunch, please raise your hand. We need to give them a head count of who wants to stay. So raise your hand, keep them up. I will try to count everyone. The over-under is 20, but let's see. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
I got 14.
Okay.
Oh.
What? You guys want to stay for lunch or no? Okay, make it 17.
Okay, 17.
And okay, so Diane, are you gonna let them know?
Yep.
Also, let them know that we can't. The mezzanine is not going to work.
Okay.
We need the downstairs.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So thanks for that. Now, in keeping with our theme of individuality, certainly I know we got a lot of characters in this room and a lot of great individuals in this room, and we're going to get a chance to show some of that. Okay, we're going to get a chance for you to express some of your individuality, because today for us, we are proud to announce that we have the Associated Mess here today to do a little performance for you. The Associated Mess is an improv comedy troupe. In fact, the premier improv comedy troupe here in the Lehigh Valley. They were founded in 2003, and their goal is basically simply to bring joy to the Lehigh Valley, to make people laugh. If you've seen the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? That's kind of what we're talking about, improv comedy. All right? So by all means, get ready to laugh, get ready to participate, and put your hands together and welcome the Associated Mess. Where's Ben? Can we try to get some of these wires out of the way for them? You're all right with the wires? Okay. You want the microphone?
Hi, everyone. Wow, that light. There we go. Now we're good. Hi, everyone. How are you this morning? I'm good. Can you hear me? No? Oh, wow. Then I will use the microphone. Hi, how are you this morning? Awesome, good. As he said, we are the Associated Mess, and we're very happy that Darren has brought us here today to perform for all of you. Have any of you ever seen an improv comedy show before? Couple of you, okay, so you kind of know the drill of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing some funny little scenes for you guys. These people are going to be the ones who are acting it out. I'm just going to be here with a microphone being loud. So they're going to be the ones doing the actual comedy part. And we're just going to get right into it for you guys. We're going to need your suggestions going along, though. Are you prepared to do that? Perfect, right on. So we are going to start with a game called 1 for 1. How this game works is we're going to have one person step forward and start a scene based on a word we get from you guys. That word will then inspire a second person to come forward and start a 2-person scene. That same word will inspire one more to start a 3-person scene, then a 4-person scene, and then, once we have all 4 people on stage, you're gonna see them all slink back, go back to the original 3, 2, and 1-person scenes till we're right back at the beginning. Make sense? Cool, so what we need from you guys is a word to get us started. So what's a good word, kind of a versatile word that we could use?
Deflated.
Deflated. All right. You, sir. You get a magnet. Every good suggestion, every suggestion we take, it gets one of our magnets. There you go, sir. A round of applause for the magnets. All right, so we are going to get started with the word deflated. So whoever wants to step out and start a scene up, go ahead.
Crab, calm down, man. There's no reason to go off the handle here. It's just a job. You'll find another one. It's not a big deal.
Well, that's fine for you. You're still here.
That's true. And I've always made more money than you. And now it's just going to continue to happen, Brad. But you got to get out there. You got so many good skills. I'm sure you're going to figure this out.
Barbara, Stephen, you've got problems here, all right? Snoopy is all out of air, and we go on. We're marching down 42nd Street in 10 minutes. What are we gonna do?
Cancel the parade. We haven't done it.
All right, my fellow New England Patriots. We have a small problem here. They're thinking about revoking our Super Bowl appearance because well, somebody let the air out of the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
I did it.
You did it.
Oh, I would tell you all right now. Straight up, I did it. I'm sick of football.
Tom Brady, we're gonna get you if I can't help it.
I will cancel the parade.
Yeah, I think it's probably best. Without Snoopy, no one's gonna watch. It doesn't matter.
All right, maybe we can bring in a replacement.
Like Underdog.
Yes, I'll go
Everybody
check
still
on it.
remembers him.
Yes, I'll go check on it right away. He's always here to save the day.
Listen, man, you just gotta go out, you gotta hand out your resume, you gotta buy nicer clothes. It's all it's
My
gonna take.
clothes.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell you, but you look terrible. Look, I got some extra pants. If you, they'll probably fit you. I'll go get you a pair. We're gonna get you.
All right.
We're gonna help you
All right.
out.
And that's our scene, everybody. Round of applause for your 4 performers. All right, I'm going to ask two of our performers, Jake and Letitia, to step forward for us, because the next game we're going to do is called Gibberish. How Gibberish works is they're going to be doing a scene together. I'm going to get the suggestion from you guys. However, at any point during the scene, I can say gibberish. Then going from English, they're going to have to start speaking entirely in gibberish. Then I can say English, and they got to switch right back at the drop of a hat. So you're going to see how that works. And the suggestion we're going to get from you guys, I want you to answer this question for me. You just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do next?
Disneyland.
Sleep. Anything else? Oh, you have one? Party. I like her. You get a magnet. That is a magnet answer right there. Round of applause for the magnet answer. So you just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do next? Party is the suggestion, and this is gibberish.
You're gonna do it.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome tonight.
Oh, man. I can't wait till they serve the cabaret wine.
That's my favorite part.
Oh, nothing says football like cabaret wine.
Those are the cups you're gonna use?
Oh. We were out of wine. We can't. How can we sell them? No.
Oh no.
Gibberish. English.
You lush, you drank all the wine.
Me too. I was just so excited about celebrating. I wanted to start early so I could.
You act like you win the Super Bowl every year.
Gibberish.
Apu, apu.
English.
It's Dr. Pepper.
I hate Dr. Pepper. Ugh. We can't have a party with just Dr. Pepper.
We can't have a party in 400 square feet of a hotel that they gave the winning team.
Well, I mean, that actually sounds pretty nice.
Gibberish. English.
This box will go great right here. Just gotta keep. Yeah, that's for you.
Yay, it's
That's right, it's a shaking beanie bag. It doesn't ever stop shaking.
Gibberish. English.
That was my whole paycheck.
Well, I'm sorry, you played third string.
I know what that means.
You're a backup and you'll always be a backup.
Gibberish. English.
2 is enough. Not more than 2.
Yeah, but 3's a crowd, sweetheart. 3 is a crowd.
That is the last time you say that to me.
Gibberish. English.
But you know what? I'm not going to let you weasel your way.
You just put a sign on my back. I don't want anybody. Nope, you're not going to say that.
Oh, just having a little celebratory fun.
Gibberish. English.
And they kick you, that's the point.
I thought we weren't going to say it. You know I don't like bringing up kicking.
Gibberish. English.
All of a sudden you're the singer now. You know singing is my thing.
Hey, I have the best locker room voice, okay? And I can sing Elvis, and I can sing a lot more Elvis.
And that's our scene, everybody. Give him a round of applause. Wow, that hurts. Gotta keep that down when I go in front of the microphone. All right, we got one more game we're gonna play for you guys before we turn it over to someone else. I do apologize for that little hiccup there. What's gonna happen now? I need a volunteer from our lovely audience here to come up and help us out with the scene. Can someone do that? You guys wanna help out? Okay, you know what? Bring them both up. We can do this with both of them. Bring them on up. Is there any chairs we got or anything like that? If not, they can stand. They can Got a chair right here? Chair right here. Perfect. Are you guys going to be able to share that chair for us? Cool, right on. And give them a round of applause for coming up here. Okay, and your names?
I'm Amanda.
Okay, this is Amanda, everyone, and this is?
Madeleine.
Amanda and Madeleine, everyone. Give them a round of applause. They volunteered without even knowing what they were going to be doing, so that's a plus. Amanda, Madeleine, what you're going to be doing for us is playing a game called Tap That. And how that works is we're going to have two people, Richie and Cheryl, doing a scene around you. However, during the scene, they're going to stop saying what they're currently saying and tap you on the shoulder. What that means is they want you to finish their sentence for them with another word. So whenever they say, I really would like to go to the beach to get some pears. There you go. So if you guys want to give it a shot, Richie, if you want to try it out with them.
Yeah. I hate going to school because they always try and make us learn about
Math. Yeah. Well, you'll get the microphone. Don't worry, Cheryl, if you want to try it out with Madeleine.
Yesterday I was so excited because I was going to the mall.
There we go. That's how the game works. So we're going to turn it over to Richie, Amanda, Madeleine, and Cheryl here. I'm going to give you guys the microphone. The setup for this scene is Cupid and his new sidekick, blank. So who's Cupid's new sidekick?
Mighty Mouse.
Howard? You ready for a magnet? Because you're getting one, whoever that was. That is a good answer. So this is Cupid and his new sidekick, Howard. All right, we're going to turn the microphone over to Amanda and Madeleine. And guys, take it away.
Here I am, Cupid. Reporting for duty.
Howard, you're 15 minutes late.
Oh, man.
Just think of all the love we missed.
All right, look, Cupid, I'm sorry. It's my first date, and I'm only late because I
Had to use the bathroom.
had to use the bathroom.
Oh,
Bad.
Howard.
All right.
Howard, TMI. I understand. You got things you got to do in the morning, but being prompt is what this business is all about. If you're not here on time for the rest of your career, I'm going to have to send you to
Jail.
jail.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
Cupid, don't send me to jail. Look, I've been there once, and it was real bad. When I was in jail, they made me eat.
Spinach.
They made me eat spinach, and I don't like anything that's green. And that's the honest truth.
I had no idea.
It's bad.
If you had any idea how many assistants I've sent to jail, and now they're all just sitting there eating their spinach and crying, while I'm out here making all these people fall in love with each other. It's just so sad.
It is sad. Look, Cupid, I don't mean to cry, but I am, 12th in a long line of assistants. Why does everybody leave you? Is it because you're so...
Crazy.
Because you're so crazy?
Maybe. Or maybe it's because I always steal their
Candy.
candy. Every time an assistant shows up here, I pat them down and take all the candy.
Well, then I am sure glad that I put my Skittles in lockdown on level 1. All right.
Yeah, but now I know where they are. And I have the keys to every room here.
Howard, why do I tell these things to you? All right, listen, Cupid, let's get down to business. I am ready to make some people fall in love. So I help you shoot the arrow, and then...
I do that.
And then I do that.
You're right, it's really not as hard as I make it seem.
And that's our scene, everybody.
Amanda and Madeleine, one more time, everybody. Woohoo! Bring that chair back over there. We do appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We are going to head out, but I want to tie this whole thing into the individuality part. What you're seeing right now is 5 completely different people, but we get together pretty much every week to do this sort of thing. And if even one person from that group, one of these individuals isn't there, it's not the same thing. So that is what that means to me. And if you'd like to come see this, we are available every other Saturday night at Steel Stacks at 10:30 p.m. So kids might have to stay home, but you grown-ups, come on out. Thank you very much for having us here.
All right, thank you, Associated Mess. Now, I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure about this. I did mention that we're going to completely ignore religion, but that gibberish did to me sound a little bit like speaking in tongues. But no, I think we're still safe. I think we're clear. We're still good. All right. Thanks again to Associated Mess. We're going to move on. Where is Jason? I'm going to bring Jason up. Watch your step there to bring up our next speaker.
Thank you, Darren. So many of the most important values held by humanists are not unique to humanism, but rather they're universal. Values like kindness, compassion, empathy, and personal growth. And I'd like to introduce you all to someone who has had a profound impact on my life by nurturing those values in me. Her book, All About Me, has shed great insights onto my upbringing, and her blog of reflections has been a weekly support to me in my personal growth. She also happens to be my wife. Please welcome Francine Brocious.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. This is one of the reflections that I wrote. One of the reflections that I wrote for my blog about maybe 3 months ago now. And just a little bit of a background. I come from a very strict upbringing, and so I've come out of that upbringing and have open to a lot of new ideas and new people, new concepts in my life. And so in that process, I've been very fortunate to have had a lot of different influences and have done a lot of personal reflection on my own. So that's kind of what this reflection is about. It's called, What Will You Believe? When you come into this world as a baby, you are a completely blank slate. But are you really? What will you believe? Those people around you, as well as the society you are raised in, share many Those people around you, as well as the society you are raised in, share many things with you. They tell you, directly or not, how to fit in with them in order to survive. And because you instinctively know you need to survive, you do what you need to do. You follow what they do, and you believe what they say. But are there deeper truths buried within you even then? What will you believe? They tell you that you are good when you do some things and bad when you do others. They tell you that some of your feelings are okay to feel and show, and others are not. But now you are an adult. What will you believe? They show you that everyone does these things in this family, around here, in this town, in this country, in this organization, because that's the way it's always been. It's a family, community. It's a family, community, national, or group tradition. You don't want to feel left out, so you join them in whatever they are doing. But now you are grown up and can make different decisions. Does it feel right to you? Does it really feel right to do what they do and to say what they say? To think how they think and to live how they live? What will you believe? They tell you or show you that girls and women do this and boys and men do that. They also tell you or show you that girls and women don't do this and boys and men don't do that. But now you've grown up. Do you think that there's more to it than that? What will you believe? They tell you or show you that some people get treated differently in society than other people. As an adult, you may have even found this to be true for yourself. But does it really feel right to you when this happens? What will you believe? They show you what they eat and you eat it. You may even learn to like it because it reminds you of them. But now you're an adult. You can choose to eat whatever feels best for you. You can choose foods that make you feel good in every sense of the word. Food that gives you energy and helps you feel alive. What food will you choose? What will you believe? They show you who they listen to, who they turn to for advice, news, and guidance. They tell you who and what is right, and who and what is wrong. But now you're an adult. You can decide for yourself who and what is right and wrong. You can even decide if right and wrong are completely subjective realities. So what will you believe? They show you a lot of what they think and how they feel every day by how they act. When you are little, you don't know this directly, but you do know it indirectly. Sometimes you pick up on how they act, and you do those things so you can be like them. You don't know if it's good for you, but you trust it is, because you trust them. But now you are an adult. You can see them as just as human as you. You can see that they are also doing the best they can with what they know. You can see that sometimes, just like you, they react to things in ways that aren't the healthiest. And you can still always love them. And you can still find deep compassion for them and still choose differently. So what will you believe? They tell you who they want you to be when you grow up. Sure, they do ask you, but they tell you too. Because if you grow up and it turns out you don't want to be like them, or if you want to do better than them, or if they think you are doing better than them or are happier than them, they can get upset. They don't understand you. They may even secretly be jealous of you. It's true. But all you really want is to find your own path and be true to yourself, whether that means fitting in with them or not. It's hard not to fit in with them, but it's even harder to betray yourself and your deepest truths. So what will you believe? If you try to do something different, to think something different, to ask them questions, they become afraid. They don't want to lose you. And maybe they're afraid of doing something different, thinking something different, or asking questions. So they try to do what they can to shame you, to convince you otherwise, to make you feel guilty and wrong for trying to do what feels right to you. Because they're uncomfortable, and they fear that if you become different from them, you can't love them anymore. You know deep down in your heart that even though it hurts, you can always love them, no matter what they say or do. If they won't open to you and your big questions, you can even distance yourself from them and choose your own heart, and you can know that you will always still love them deep down, even if they have tried, intentionally or not, to hurt you out of fear. So what will you believe? If you do something different around the other kids and another hurting child sees you, they may single you out and make fun of you. It hurts not to feel included. Maybe you learned to stop doing things that were different. But now you're an adult. Who are you really? What brings you alive? What are your dreams? What will you believe now? When you get older, you have life experiences that are at times brutal. You make mistakes. You learn the hard way. You move in different directions. You experience loss. You may even lose some of them. And sometimes when you are really down, it's so easy to go back to all those ways that they taught you so long ago. To go back to all those things that they did and that your society does, and to do them anyway because you want to fit in. You want to feel included and not alone. But even if you don't fit in directly with society or with them, you are never truly alone. You always have yourself. And you are still an adult. No matter what they have told you, and no matter what in your life has brought you down, you are still full of amazing potential, with the ability to change your mind and move in any direction you want to. It's harder to believe that when you've been knocked down. But it's at those times when you can drop down into that deepest part of your heart and know that it's really true. You will always have yourself, no matter who or what else comes and goes. You are your constant. So what will you believe? They tell you that once your age matches certain numbers, or once certain things happen in your life, you will be old. They make it sound like whatever those things are, or whatever those numbers happen to be, that once you get old, life is pretty awful after that. They make it sound awful to even think about living out any more of life than you already have. They make it sound like you will have nothing to look forward to someday, because the best parts of your life are over, they say. But what if you want to live out your full life? And what if you want to be happy during your full life, no matter how long that may be, and no matter what they tell you? What if they tell you those things because it's really they who have given up hope for themselves and want to make sure you join them for the ride? What if they want to make sure everyone they know joins them for the ride of hopelessness and downhillness, so that they couldn't dare to think that they could feel anything else? What if they're just terrified because they don't know what to do next in their life? What if they just haven't stopped to consider that they are so much more, even than everything they have been ever taught to this point? They tell you those things about getting old, and oftentimes those things really do happen to them. Sometimes it seems almost more and more as they expect them to. But what kind of life do you want? What will you believe? Deep down, your heart knows the greatest amazing truths about who you really are and all of who you really can be. Deep down, your heart knows that it is meant to live a full life, whatever that means to you, for as long as you exist on this planet. But society doesn't teach listening to our hearts very well. To be honest, maybe they didn't teach you that either. Maybe they never learned it themselves. But your heart is still there, calling to you, however faintly or clearly you may detect it. What does your heart have to share with you? What will you believe? Your heart knows your greatness. Your heart also knows that your greatness is inherent. It's always been there, just waiting for you to wake up to it. Your heart also knows that society is scared of real greatness. Your heart knows that they may be scared of real greatness too. That's why they may say harsh things to you as you discover and believe in your greatness. It's because they know theirs too deep down, and they're simply scared. Society over many generations has taught them to be. Even so, your heart knows your greatness, so what will you believe? Your heart knows your deepest truths, your fullest potential, and your biggest and smallest dreams. What will you believe? Your heart still loves you after all you've been through, after all they've said and done, after all society says and does. Your heart can never stop loving you. It's your heart. You may stop believing in it at times. We all do. But it will never give up on you. So what will you believe? And then, dear heart, what will you become?
All right, thank you, Francine. Now, Francine, on her website, she's got a number of really beautiful writings. I encourage you to check those out. That particular one that she read was really instrumental in us picking a topic for today. As when Jason and I were talking about, hey, what topic do we want to do for the first Secular Sunday celebration? I read that particular writing of Francine's and I said, hey, this is it right here. This is individuality. And what I love about it is it's all different stages of life. When you're young, middle-aged, maybe a bit older, society still has the same kind of preconceptions about you, and you can still let your individuality shine. So thank you, Francine. Beautiful, beautiful writing. All right, it's time for some poetry. Are you ready for some poetry? All right, we have 2 poems for you. We got 2 poems. Go ahead and start getting set up. All right, we also have some birthdays coming up. February 12th. Whose birthday is February 12th? And who else? He's got another guy with a beard. Likes little birdies and things. Darwin, yeah. Darwin's birthday's coming up. We can't forget about old Darwin. The day after Darwin's birthday, February 13th, is a very special day in the Smith household. That is my wife's birthday, and she's here. My wife is turning 29, and so she's celebrating her birthday next week. Also, coincidentally, that same day is also one of my daughter's birthday. They have the same birthday. So Amanda's birthday is also February 13th, and she is turning 9. And I asked them to share a poem with you today that incorporates both a birthday theme and a theme of individuality. Imagine that. And she will be accompanied by her sister Madeleine on the violin. Amanda, let me see if you can hold this. Give me a test.
Test.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, Amanda and Madeleine.
Happy Birthday to You by Dr. Seuss. If we didn't have birthdays, you wouldn't be you. If you'd never been born, well then what would you do? If you'd never been born, well then what would you be? You might be a fish or a toad in a tree. You might be a doorknob or 3 baked potatoes. You might be a bag full of hard green tomatoes. Or worse than all that, why you might be a wasn't. A wasn't has no fun at all. No, he doesn't. A wasn't just isn't. He just isn't present. But you are you, and now isn't that pleasant? Today you are you, and that's truer than true. There's no one alive who is youer than you. Shout loud, I am lucky to be who I am. I'm glad that I'm not just a clam or a ham or a dusty old jar of sour gooseberry jam. I am what I am, and that's a great thing to be. If I say so myself, happy birthday to me.
All right, thank you, Amanda and Madeleine. We got one more poem, and this it is my great honor and privilege to bring up the next presenter, and it is the brand new LVH president, Kate Wilgruber. Now, Kate is going to share a poem, and then Kate is going to share a blockbuster announcement. It's huge, okay? It's going to change LVH forever, change the course of our history as we know it. And we only elected her president like last month, and already she's come in like a tornado, just changing things, making things better. It's wonderful. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President Kate Wilgruber.
Thanks, Darren, for no pressure at all whatsoever. That's great. All right, so I'm going to read a poem called Human Family by Maya Angelou. And it's sort of a complementary counterpoint, I think, to Francine's piece. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious, some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim they really live in the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse bemused delight. Brown and pink and beige and purple, tan and blue and white. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane, but I've not seen any 2 who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jibe. And lovers think quite different thoughts while laying side by side. We love and lose in China, we weep on England's moors, and laugh and moan in Guinea and thrive on Spanish shores. We seek success in Finland, are born and die in Maine. In minor ways we differ, but in major ways the same. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. Now, our earth-shattering blockbuster announcement is thanks in large part to Harley. We had been talking a lot in the last month and a half about getting some more community engagement going with our group. And I got a call from Harley one morning saying that he was over at the Bradbury Sullivan LGBT Center and he was doing some volunteer work there, which our group has done in the past as well. So they had some space for rent and it was really affordable. So we decided to go over and take a look. And this place is awesome. It's just great. It's huge and it's beautiful and they're renovating this entire building right behind, you guys know where Croc Rock is, right? So we toured the place and we decided that we were gonna rent an office. So we're now gonna have a physical location. We're gonna have a place to meet and work. They have a massive community room, which is big now, but they're also gonna be knocking out a wall, so we'll be able to accommodate, 150 people or something, maybe, eventually. And we'll be able to move our meetings there and then not haul all this stuff up and down elevators and flights of stairs and all that stuff. But to me, the most exciting part of it is that it's the Bradbury Sullivan LGBT Center. And I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's a historic thing in the Lehigh Valley because it's the first place where LGBT people are going to be able to meet and have a really safe space, have a youth group, have all this great stuff going on. We're going to share space with them, and we're going to use that money to support their center so they have financial success. And we're going to share space with Turning Point. They have an office there too. They're doing some counseling out of there for people who are victims of intimate partner violence. And it's going to be really cool because we're going to cross-promote events. Hopefully we're going to get a lot of new members, and we're going to be able to jump on board with some of the exciting things that they're doing and meet some new people that they're going to be able to introduce us to. So what do you guys think about that? Yay! Now, timeline is still a little bit fuzzy because they're not officially opened yet. They're still doing work on the place. But once we figure that out, we'll make another announcement, and then we'll know when we're going to actually start doing meetings there. And it's very exciting. Thank you. Oh, also, we all love our parking here, and parking is important. There's a parking garage, 5 feet from the entrance to the building. Yay! Sure. It's... so...
For people in office, you get to use their facilities for meeting spaces. You want to do a book club there. They also have adjacent rooms, so if you ever want to get to the point where we can provide childcare. If we want to provide childcare, there's separate rooms off to the side where we can have some, trained and certified people that can watch the kids. What's that? Oh, the number, it's $250 a month. So where can you rent an office and have space for your events for $250 a month? I mean, that's, so yeah, we're going to give it a try for 1 year and see how it goes. All right? Is it haunted? Yes. But we're not going to talk about that now because we're trying not to get into the spiritual realm, either for or against at this event. All right. Thank you, Kate. All right. Now for a moment of science. But first, we got bills now, obviously. We got $250 to pay a month, and we got to pay for overhead and whatnot. So we're going to pass a basket. Diane's going to start it back there. If anybody wants to help contribute to the cause with a donation to help us pay the bills, we'd appreciate that. So the basket will start back there. It will sweep all the way across. It will probably miss half of you, but then we'll put it at the table by the elevator. So if we miss you, you can, and you want to donate and help us out, you can do that at the end. Like I said, now it's time for a moment of science. While Jason is switching the sides over to Martha's presentation, I just want to talk a little bit about when we were putting this event together. Jason and I we wanted to inject some science into what we were doing, but we weren't exactly sure how to do it. How do we find someone who can relate our theme of individuality to science in a short presentation? And then a couple months ago, I attended one of Jason's discussion groups. And if you haven't been to those, they're fabulous. In fact, the next one is coming up when? Next Sunday? Is that right? Next Sunday. The next discussion group is next Sunday at Pies on Pizza, and we have a guest host, which is you, right? It's Justin Vacula is going to be the guest host of next week's discussion group. Well, anyway, a couple months ago, I was at that discussion group, and we're going around the table and introducing ourselves, and everybody's, telling a little bit about themselves. And Rich and Martha were there. And can somebody help Martha out with that podium while I'm talking? Is there anybody? And Ben? Oh, there you are. So Richard and Martha were telling us about themselves, and we've known them for a while, for years. They always sit in the front row, and they have great and wonderful things to say. Always got nice comments. They've been to my house, but I knew nothing about these people, and I learned that they've got this awesome business, and that also Martha is secretly a PhD in behavioral neuroscience from Temple University. And also a little birdie one time told me that she had been involved with Toastmasters for a while. So I'm like, wow, we've got, if all I had to do was talk to some of these people and find that we've got all these talents and abilities and knowledge and just, great abilities. So we asked Martha, can you give us a little talk about the science of individuality, about the science of yourself? What makes you yourself and not a baked potato or what?
Or a clam.
Right, or a clam. So Martha's going to do that for us now. Are you going to get the? Does she have the lapel mic?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Try it out. Test. Perfect.
We're getting there.
Not perfect.
Hold on. Let's move this further away from the speaker.
Okay.
There we go. And this one.
You want to test it again?
Okay, test. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Do I? Well, let's not talk simultaneously. Should I talk louder?
That's good.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martha Cichelli.
How many people here talk to themselves? Yeah? Do you talk back? Yes, of course. Next slide, please. So, do you feel like over a period of time, although you change, that you are the same inner self, pretty much? Okay? What is this self? And where is it? Is it in your brain? Is it in control? And the ultimate question, does it talk to you? Do you talk back? Next slide, please. We seem to have a feeling that there is something inside of us, more than just our physical body, something that experiences, thinks, and plans. Eastern gurus tell us that the self is an illusion, and actually neuroscience is saying that too. In many of our cultures, our feeling of the self is sometimes referred to as the soul. And that's all I'm going to say about religion. All right, next slide. This is called dualism, and I know there are some people here, when they heard I was going to talk about this, would go, oh no, not dualism. No, definitely not dualism. Those of you who've taken any kind of psychology or philosophy course ever have heard about Descartes, I'm sure, who coined the idea that the self or the mind is something separate from the body, and somehow they communicate. Next slide, please. Well, I'm going to follow Francis Crick's hypothesis that that is not so. Now, this is the same Francis Crick of DNA structure fame, but later in his life, after having had a full career, he decided he had another subject he wanted to pursue, which was human consciousness. And so he did. I mean, he could. And he says, this is his astonishing hypothesis, which I have in a very interesting book here. Come out here where I can read it. It says, you, your joys and your sorrows, your memories and your ambitions, your sense of personal identity and free will are in fact no more than the behavior of a vast assembly of nerve cells and their associated molecules. Nothing more than the neurons in your brain. I'm going to attempt to defend this position. Excuse me here. Okay, I want to start with a little tiny bit about what neurons are and how they work, and I'm going to see if I can not destroy the whole sound system by coming out here. Okay. This is a picture of a typical nerve cell. All right, back over here. No real nerve cell looks exactly like this one, but they all have these various functions. This is the cell body, and coming into it are things called dendrites. They receive information from other cells, and some of this information excites this cell and some of it calms it down. But if the majority is excitatory enough, that causes an electrical potential. It's called to go down the length of the neuron here, down the axon, and spread out and communicate with another cell. Many cells, actually. Next slide, please. This is a vision of the many. I have no idea how this image was created, but I think it's glorious. That is one neuron communicating on both sides with hundreds of cells. Thousands, probably, yes. Next slide, please. Lots and lots of neurons. Now, the average density of the neurons in your cortex, which is the outer level of your brain where the thinking part is, 50,000 cells per cubic millimeter. Any idea how small that is? A cubic millimeter has 50,000 of these cells. Now, I was looking at Declan running by, and to tell you, he has even more than you do, most likely, because actually when kids are born, they have the most of all. They learn and the cells are pruned down so that they remember only the things that are useful to them. Oh, that doesn't do anything. Next slide, please. Okay. Francis Crick talked about the visual system in a great deal of detail because he felt it was a wonderful example. If we can understand how the visual system perceives something out there, we've come a leap towards consciousness. And the visual system has been, okay, it's a little out of order, I apologize. I'll get back to that. The visual system has been very well mapped out, and Crick used this as an example. Okay, next slide. How do neurons communicate? I showed the idea of the dendrites and the synapses on the other end. If a neuron is, quote, excited by a whole bunch of positive things coming in saying, this is important, it will fire and send that information on. If it's inhibited by other things, it will not. Let's just go on to the next slide. Okay. This is a case of simple rules with complex behavior. At each of those little places where input is coming in from other neurons or output is going out, they do so at what's called a synapse, which is a tiny, tiny little gap between the input and the next cell. And in here are little bundles of neurotransmitters. I'm sure you've heard of neurotransmitters. No? Maybe not? Yes, okay. This is the kind of thing that antidepressants try to act on and keep around longer to make you feel better if it's the right neurotransmitter. There are some of them that are excitatory, some are inhibitory. And they cross this little tiny place. They come in and they go out. If the pluses exceed the minuses by enough, the message is passed on. Next slide, please. Okay. Crick used the human visual system as a detailed example. This slide, the purpose of this slide is to put up a whole bunch of neuroscience-y words and fancy colors to convince you that the visual system has been well mapped out. That's all it's there for. Next slide, please. Okay. Visual seeing begins with the eye and light falling on the retina. But this is nothing like a camera taking a picture. It's not that a picture is formed and then something, a little man up there perhaps, interprets it. I mean, that wouldn't make any sense. That's just pushing the problem back. Instead, neurons at different levels in that visual system detect certain features and kind of summarize those features and pass them on to a higher level, which collects other features and passes them on. This was all work done by Hubel and Wiesel using cats, but extensively done. Now, they would insert an electrode in the brain of a cat and present a stimulus to the cat. And in this case, the stimulus is a line at this angle. Over here are the responses they got. Those little lines say the brain, the cell is going, da 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 da, yeah, that's it, I recognize that. And a little bit was, oh, I kind of recognize that. And then up here, no, I don't know what that is. So they found individual cells that recognize each orientation. They've also found cells that recognize lots of other things. Next slide, please. Okay. Our brain constructs what we see. This is just one example to hopefully make it crystal clear that it's not a camera. How many big triangles do you see here? 2. Does everyone see 2? Good for you. 2? Well, they're little ones, but how many big ones? Okay. This one right here, presumably, although you know there are gaps in it. This one is not there. I'm sorry, but it is not there. There is no border between it and the background. There's no border inside here. But we see it, don't we? That's because our visual system looks for continuity of edges of things. And even after you realize that's not really there, you will still see it. Okay. So our visual system constructs what we see, and how does it do that? Well, as I said, it does it by moving summarized information up through the visual system. But something happens at the end, so we really perceive something, and we still don't understand that. That's part of what we're seeking for. Now, this is another interesting thing that happens with human brains. You've got two hemispheres, and they come together, and they kind of look the same on the outside. They're different, but they kind of look the same. But between them, going from over here to over there, is a bunch of nerves called the corpus callosum. It allows the left half of the brain to communicate with the right half. You're never aware of that happening, but it's there. Back along in the 1990s, I guess, maybe earlier, 50s, okay. To treat patients with severe cases of epilepsy, they found it was helpful to cut the corpus callosum into 2. If an epileptic seizure started in one part of the brain, this would prevent it from progressing to the other side. So they severed it. And the patients appeared much better. They didn't appear to have any strange behaviors. They seemed to be perfectly normal. They could communicate. However, there were things going on. This is a rather detailed diagram of an experiment, but basically the gist of it is, with the 2 brain halves separated, they set up apparatus so that a person could see only one visual field or the other, not both. Now, you probably know, or at least I will tell you, that the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body and sees the right visual field, and vice versa. So they presented to someone, to their left visual field, the word face. And then asked, what did you see? And the person responded perfectly normally, face. So then they tried it the other way. What did the right brain see when presented with the word face? Well, the verbal side of the brain, which is the left, said, nothing, I don't see anything, there's nothing there. The right side of the brain, there's not thinking this out loud, of course, but there's a face there, but I can't talk. But I can draw. And draws a picture of a face. And they did many, many other experiments of this type that make it very clear that in this particular, after this surgery, the right half of the brain and the left half of the brain do not talk. They each have abilities and lack of abilities. They each appear to be conscious. Do we have two minds? It's definitely one brain. There's other parts of the brain can still be in touch, but they aren't communicating. Two minds? Okay, this Roger Sperry did a lot of these tests, and Michael, someone whose last name I've never been able to pronounce, studied this extensively. What? Yeah, something like that. Okay. Next slide, please. So do we not know yet? Lots. One theory is that we don't really know how the information flowing up through the brain turns into a perception of something, of ourselves or of what we're looking at. That last little link, we don't know how that happens, but we're working on it. One theory is consciousness may be what's called an emergent property of a nervous system. No place to point to it and say it's there, but all of the activity going on together makes this property emerge. But how does this give rise to perceptions? Then what are the differences between consciousness and unconsciousness? Is this kind of like pornography? You know it when you see it? It raises all kinds of ethical questions. If someone's non-reactive and non-verbal, is that person conscious? You can see how that can come into end-of-life decisions. There's a gentleman named Christoph Koch who was a student of Francis Crick's and then a collaborator and then has continued the work further on. And he says, I've got that in another this one's a very readable, accessible book, that consciousness comes with organized chunks of matter. It is immanent in the organization of the system. It is a property of complex entities and cannot be further reduced to the action of more elementary properties. Now, he does not restrict this to brains, human or otherwise. I think he's quite convinced that someday a computer will be conscious if it gets complex enough, but it's not just the complexity, it's the feedback inside it that he feels. I'm not sure I share this view, I'm just presenting it here. Again, though, it's not looking for something outside of the brain. Next slide, please. Are we truly capable, ever, of understanding our own minds? Now, Francis Crick thought so. He knew we weren't there, but his final thoughts shortly before he died. How it will turn out remains to be seen. The astonishing hypothesis, he said, it's nothing but the neurons, may be proved correct. Alternatively, some view closer to the religious one may become more plausible. Only time and much further scientific work will enable us to decide. Whatever the answer, the only sensible way to arrive at it is through detailed scientific research. The italics in the next phrase are mine. All other approaches are little more than whistling to keep our courage up. I love that line. We must hammer away until we have forged a clear and valid picture, not only of this vast universe in which we live, but also of our very selves. This is going to be exciting, and there will be new things happening continually, I'm sure. If this caused you to have some more questions, it didn't answer much, but if it caused you to have some more questions, maybe we can try this again sometime, and we can talk about free will. Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. That was a moment of science. All right. And I learned a few things. And I learned perhaps why I am, in fact, not a baked potato. All right. Hey, we are actually right on time and right on schedule. It's amazing. The first time we ever did this, and everything is just flowing smoothly, right on schedule. We're almost coming to the conclusion now. We're going to welcome Buttonfly back up. We're going to, if we have to move that podium, we can move it. If not, they're going to get themselves all set up. Like I mentioned before, check our calendar for events. We got the discussion group coming up. We have Drinking Skeptically coming up. I'm sure at some point, are we having a game night this month, or is that next month? I don't even know. But just go check any of our websites, Facebook, Meetup, see all the great upcoming events, and also be sure to let us know what you think of this. This is the first time we're doing it, so we need some feedback. I mean, you can post it publicly, or you can just send me an email or a message or something. Let us know, positives and negatives, whether you want us to ever do this again or never do it again. That's fine. We respect all feedback because that will help us. That will help us plan for the future. Okay, you guys ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Closing out the show with the final two songs, once again, Buttonfly.
I need your sweet inspiration. I need you here on my mind every hour of the day. Without your sweet inspiration, the lonely hours of the night just don't go my way. A man in love needs sweet inspiration. Honey, that's all I ask. That's all I ask of you. I gotta have sweet inspiration. You know there's just no telling what a satisfied man might do. Just reach back in my mind to find sweet, sweet inspiration. Sweet, oh what a power. Honey, I got the power every hour of the day. I gotta have your sweet inspiration to go on living, to keep on giving this way. Sweet, sweet inspiration. I said, sweet. Well, we are Buttonfly. Butter. I must have my mind on breakfast. Autocorrect. I'm Mike, and this is Steph, and thanks for having us be a part of this day. It's a great program and great group of folks, and a lot of great energy in the room. So thanks very much.
Fall is here, hear the yell. Back to school, ring the bell. Brand new shoes, walking blues. Up on fence and books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Yes, I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, Susie Lee, through the park and by the tree. We will rest upon the ground and look at all the bugs we found. Safely walk to school without a sound. Safely walk to school without a sound. Here we are, there's no one else. We walk to school all by ourselves. There's dirt on our uniforms from chasing all the ants and worms. We clean up and now it's time to learn. We clean up and now it's time to learn. Numbers, letters, learn to spell. Nouns and books and show and tell. Playtime we will throw the ball and back to class through the hall. Teacher marks our height against the wall. The teacher marks our height against the wall. We don't notice any time pass. We don't notice anything. We sit side by side in every class. Teacher thinks that I sound funny, but she likes the way you sing. Tonight I'll dream while I'm in bed, when silly thoughts go through my head about the books and alphabet. And when I wake tomorrow, I'll bet that you and I will walk together again. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Yes, I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Thank you.
Am I on? All right. Thank you, Buttonfly. That was Napoleon Dynamite, right? Isn't that from Napoleon Dynamite? I think so. Yeah. It's a great movie, great song. So thank you, Buttonfly. Thank you, Associated Mess. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Francine. Thank you, kids. Thank you, Kate. Did I forget anybody? Thank you for the people who brought the coffee. Where are you? Raise your hand if you brought the coffee or any other stuff. We want to make sure we want to thank you for that. Somebody, there's pointing. They're pointing. Oh, there we go. They're pointing at Gary. All right. So thank you. That's a big. That helps. It enhances the here. And we will see you at lunch for those who are saying.